Hey, today we are going to talk about how you can find duplicate ancestors. Okay, not duplicate ancestors. Ancestors that are appearing in more than one branch of your tree. I have my great-grandparents showing up in two different lines of my tree. And so we're going to show you how you can see that visually pretty easily with a free service over at WikiTree. We're going to talk about all of that coming up next. Hey, before we jump into it, let me introduce myself. My name is Connie Knox. I am a lifelong genealogist here to help you go further, faster, and factually with your family history research. There is a handout for this episode. If you want the handout, there'll be more information at the end of the show. Let's jump into it. All right, so let's start over here on Ancestry just to show you what the problem is. So in my family, I have the same ancestors in two different lines of the family. And you can see them here. All right, so this is my great-grandmother, Rebecca. John Henley and Keziah Nixon. They appear twice in the tree, but on this kind of view, you can't see it. You wouldn't know it unless you happen to go hunting. While they come down through Rebecca Henley, they also come down through Mary Hale. Let me show you. So if I click over here to the ancestors of Mary Hale, you can see John Henley and Keziah Nixon again. Well, I didn't know this for the longest time. I just happened to trip across it one day and go, wait a minute, hold on a second. As it turns out, these two had a daughter named Sarah, and they also had a son named John. So they were siblings, right? John and Sarah are siblings. And down through the generations, my ancestors over here end up marrying, and they were second cousins. Well, okay, so how I just really found that by accident. And so there is a really easy way to figure this out for yourself over on WikiTree. So let's jump over to WikiTree for a minute. So here I am on WikiTree. Now, you have to have, this is a free service, okay? You have to have a registered account, but it's free, okay? I think you also have to sign the honor code to really kind of get into the deep thing. But basically all that's saying is that you will play nice. So when you are at WikiTree, then you need to upload your tree or add your ancestors to it, right? But once you're there, oh my gosh, it really kind of gets cool, because check this out. So here I am on the fan chart, and I'm going to show you how to get to this stuff in a second. In fact, in the handout, there's step-by-step instructions on how to do this, because it's a little tricky to get to it. But you can see that they're showing, because I know that's really hard to see, small font, but John Henley and Keziah Nixon, John Henley, Keziah Nixon, they're in two different branches of the tree. And boy, is it easy to see in this view. And so I'm going to show you how we can do all of that right now. So one of the things that I wanted to point out before we really kind of dig into the step-by-step process is this is not going to teach you really about how to use WikiTree. I've done a whole other episode with Mindy Silva on how to use WikiTree, and I will leave links for that in the description box below this video on the YouTube channel, and I think I'll leave a link in the handout as well. What you can do is watch that to learn how to upload and how to use it and everything. So for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to the tree. We're going to assume that you're at the point where you've already got your ancestry in the WikiTree. And by the way, if you're not familiar with WikiTree, this is a collaborative tree. So once you connect to the world tree, boy, you could ripple out many generations over again. And so just be mindful of that. The cool part about WikiTree is everybody that gets added, there has to be a source for which it's been added. It can't just be people willy-nilly putting stuff in. So, okay, so we're going to jump over to here. This is my profile. And we're going to jump down to the WikiTree, the family tree and tools. And once we're here, we see a traditional pedigree chart like we saw before. And again, from this view, you probably wouldn't see it. So the trick to getting to that fan chart is to click on this button right here that says Genealogy Research. If we click on that, and then we scroll all the way down to where you see the icon of this fan chart, and then click on Fan Chart. And you have to kind of wait for it to load for a second. So once it comes up, it defaults to 4 generations. And so you can see that I've already colored it. Now, a lot of times for many people, it will come up with the default or the white. This is often when I first come back in here after having not been in here a while, I'll see it as white. I like to go to the palette, and then I like to pick the pastels. That's just me. I like these. They're soft on the eyes, and it's kind of easy. Now, in order for me to see the duplicated lines, I had to get to 7 generations before I actually saw it. So here we're on 5 generations. So I'm sorry, it probably defaults to 5 generations. And then you can click the plus button and give it a second, and it will start to add the generations. Hey, we're going to get back to that video here in just a moment, but I want to let you know that Genealogy TV has a website, a newsletter, and a Facebook page. Links for all of that are in the show notes below. All right, let's get back to it. I zoomed out, and now I'm at 7 generations, and I'm just scrolling back. You can see my zoom feature, and I realize you can't see anything. Hell, I can't see anything either. But so we don't see the duplicates yet. So how do we get to the duplicates? So what we do is we come up to fan settings, and we click on colorize repeats. It's right here. So again, that's fan settings, colorize repeats. We click that, and then what we do, let me scroll down, it's showing the duplicates in my tree. They're not duplicates. They're in there one time, but they're in 2 different branches of the tree. So what that means is, if you think about it, so here's that Sarah and John that were siblings, right? Because their parents are the same parents. So John Henley and Sarah Henley are siblings, okay? And then they have children who have children, right? So Nanny Winslow here is the grandchild of Sarah, and Henry Gustav Henley, you can't see his middle name here, he is the grandson of John, the sibling of Sarah, or the great-grandson of Keziah and John, and Nanny over here is the great-grandchild of Keziah and John. Okay, so they're great-grandchildren. So the G rule, if you've not seen one of my other episodes where I talk about the G rule, this is a quick and dirty way I figured out just so I could remember when I was looking at DNA cousins, and I'm going, okay, that's a second cousin. How do I remember quickly what the common ancestor might be? Count the G's. Great and grandparent are 2 G's. That's a second cousin. So in this case, we know that Nanny, these are her parents, these are her grandparents, these are her great-grandparents, 2 G's, great-grandchild, right? Nanny is a second cousin to Henry. That makes sense. So when they married, they were second cousins. Now, whether they knew it or not, I don't know. Maybe they didn't know who their great-grandparents were, right? When I started this, I didn't know, when I first started doing genealogy, who my great-grandparents were. So that is really a fun way to visualize how you can see your duplicated ancestors within your tree. And I shouldn't use that word duplicated. It's really the same ancestors appearing in 2 different branches of the tree. And so zooming out quite a bit, you can see where they are popping out in that tree. So I hope that was helpful. Isn't that a cool tip? Okay, so I promised you information about how to get the handout. I will run that for you right now. There are 3 ways you can get the handouts. Now, the first way is to join the channel membership here at the information access level channel membership on the YouTube channel, and then go to the community tab and you'll find the posts that have the handout links in there. All you have to do is follow the link and download the handouts. Okay, now the second way is over at Patreon. Now, at Patreon, if you're at the Happy Dance level or higher, you can get the handouts those come directly to you in an email every time we announce the new video that has a handout with it. You'll also get early release with that membership. All right, and then the third way is just to go over to genealogytv.org and click on the handouts tab, and you can find all the handouts there for individual purchase. So I hope that was helpful. The handouts really do support the channel, and for that I thank you. So I can only imagine, for those who have a lot of endogamy in their family, what that tree might look like. Boy, that would be kind of crazy. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. I will leave you a link on the screen now for the previous episode about how to use the WikiTree. And make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I hope to see you soon in the next video.